Hello students, this is my second video of chapter 3, Liberalization, Privatization and Globalization and Appraisal. Let's have a quick recap of the previous topics. In my previous video, I had explained the meaning of economic reforms. Under the heading, I explained some keywords like structural change, fiscal deficit and market change. After that, we have done the real scenario in India in 1990 under the heading What Happened in 1990. Then I gave some details about the new economic policy 1991, and last I explained the need of economic reforms in India. Hope all these topics are clear to you. So let's move further. We have done economic reforms, the need of economic reforms, meaning and need of economic reforms. Today I'll explain the stabilizing measures and structural reform measures of new economic policy. So the new economic policy can broadly be classified into two groups, that is stabilization measures and structural reform measures. Stabilization measures are short-term measures to control inflation and to restore fiscal and balance of payment equilibrium by maintaining sufficient foreign exchange reserves. So it includes fiscal correction, reforms in tax structure, improvement in balance of payment position and control inflation. Structural reform measures are long-term measures aimed at improving the efficiency of the economy and increasing the international competitiveness. So these reforms were initiated in the field of trade, industry and public sector. Then it includes trade and capital flow reforms, industrial deregulation, public sector reforms and disinvestment, and financial sector reforms. Here in this flowchart, you can see the two categories of economic policies, that is stabilization measures and structural reform measures. Structural reform measures are long-term measures and have the three main components or elements, that is liberalization, privatization and globalization. In this chapter, we will discuss these three components of a new economic policy in detail. So these are the three main components of the new economic policy. First of all, I'll talk about the main component of new economic policy, that is liberalization. I'll discuss with you its meaning, measures and impacts. So the meaning of liberalization. It means to free the economy from direct or physical controls imposed by the government. So before 1991, government had imposed several types of controls on Indian economy, like licensing policy or import license, foreign exchange control, etc. So these control led to fall in economic growth of the country. So economic reforms were based on the assumption that market forces could guide the economy in a more effective manner than government control. So the main objective of liberalization policy are economic growth by encouraging industrialists to invest in new ventures, that is by removing the needless and unnecessary restrictions, and encouraging the use of new technology, new and advanced technology. The main measures adopted under liberalization policy are financial sector reforms, industrial sector reforms, then tax reforms, foreign exchange reforms and trade policy reforms. We'll discuss all these measures one by one. Let's start with financial sector reforms. Financial sector includes various financial institutes like commercial banks, investment banks, stock exchange operators and foreign exchange market. So the various financial sector reforms are: the first one is reduce the role of RBI from regulator to facilitator of financial sector. It means that earlier, before 1991, RBI was playing the role of a regulator. It fixes the interest rate for the banks. It also decides cash reserve ratio, that is CRR and SLR, and loan policies of the bank, etc. Commercial banks were supposed to consult RBI for all financial matters, but the new economic policy reduces the role of RBI from a regulator to a facilitator. So it means that now, after 1991, the financial sector was allowed to take decisions on many matters on their own without consulting RBI. Second point is these reforms led to the establishment of private sector banks. So before 1991, private sector banks were not encouraged as public sector was given more importance. But these reforms led to the establishment of private sector banks, Indian as well as foreign banks. And obviously, it increases the competition and provides better and quality services to the consumers. Next is FDI in bank was raised to 50%, which was restricted earlier. So, financial institutional investors, FII, such as merchant bankers, mutual funds, pension funds, are now allowed to invest in Indian financial market, but under the strict guidelines of RBI. So, as per new economic policy, those banks who fulfill certain conditions are given freedom to set up new branches without the approval of RBI. So, beside all these freedoms under liberalization, certain managerial aspects have been retained with the RBI to safeguard the interest of the account holders and the nation. Now, the next is industrial policy reforms. So, as per the new industrial policy, the areas reserved for the public sector were narrowed down and greater participation by private sector was permitted in core and basic industries. So, the central element of industrial policy reforms were: first, industrial licensing was abolished for all products except the product categories like alcohol, cigarettes, hazardous chemical, drugs and pharmaceuticals, explosives, electronics, etc. The industries which are now reserved for public sector are defense equipments, atomic energy generation, and railways. Next, many goods which were earlier reserved for small scale industries have now been de-reserved. Other thing, in many industries, the market has been allowed to determine the prices. Means now there is no interference by the government in the price determination of those products, and the market forces, that is demand and supply, will determine the price of such products. Next is tax and fiscal reforms. Tax reforms are concerned with the reforms in government revenue and expenditure policies, so which are collectively known as fiscal policy. So that is under this, the first is reduction in direct tax. There has been a continuous increase in direct tax. So direct tax is the tax whose burden fall on the same person on whom it is imposed, like income tax, corporation tax, profit tax, etc. So after this new economic policy, there was a reduction in direct taxes. Second is the reforms in indirect taxation. Indirect tax. Indirect tax is the tax whose burden can be shifted to other person, like GST, goods and service tax. At that time, there were complexities in imposing the indirect tax, and the recovery of the tax was also difficult. So, new economic policy introduced many reforms related to it. Simplification of tax paying procedure. So earlier the procedure of tax payment was very complex. New economic policy makes that procedure more simple, and not only helps the taxpayer, it not only helps the taxpayers but also reduces tax evasion. Next is GST, so goods and service tax. This law came into effect from July 2017, and it is expected that it will generate more income for the government and reduces tax evasion and create one nation, one tax, one market. Next is foreign exchange reforms. India was badly hit by balance of payment crisis in 1991. So that means that outflow foreign exchange was more than the inflow foreign exchange. So that the rupee was devalued against foreign currencies. Devaluation means reduction in the value of the domestic currency in relation to the foreign currencies by the government. So it led to this devaluation leads to an increase in the inflow of foreign exchange. Second, earlier the determination of foreign exchange rate was controlled by the government. Now the government allowed the market forces to determine the foreign exchange rate. Market by market forces we mean demand and supply of the foreign currencies. The last is trade and investment policy reforms. First point, dismantling of quantitative restriction on imports and exports. So it means that removal of all restrictions on import and exports. India was following the policy of quantitative restriction on imports and exports earlier. This was done through tariffs and quota policies. These policies reduced the efficiency and competitiveness, which led to slow growth of manufacturing sector or industrial sector. Second is the reduction of tariff rates. So as you know that before 1991, due to the inward looking policy of the country, very high tariffs were imposed on the imports. So after new economic policy, the tariff rates were reduced to enhance domestic trade and to achieve economic growth. Removal of license procedure for imports. It means now imports licensing was abolished except in case of hazardous and environmentally sensitive industries. Removal of export duties. Under new economic policy, export duties have been removed to increase the competitive position of Indian goods and in the international markets. Now I'm going to discuss with you the positive and negative impacts of liberalization. First, I'll talk about the positive impacts. Due to liberalization, there's an increase in the foreign investment, which is obviously helpful for the economic growth of the country. There's increase in the production in all the three sectors. Technological advancement is there. Increase in GDP growth rate because of the increase in production. Control over the prices of essential commodities. And the negative impacts are increase in unemployment because of the more use of capital intensive techniques, decrease in tax receipts because of the taxation policy of the government, unbalanced development in the country, and increase in foreign dependence. Thank you so much.